Everybody having a good time so far? Yeah, good. This is going to be a little bit of a different type of presentation. I have had a long history since the dark ages of the internet. Punch cards before that, and been around a long time, had a lot of experiences, had a lot of life stories, had a lot of ups and downs. Anybody with me in the room that has had ups and downs, or you all had the straight success so far? Okay, good. Along the way, I built multiple sites in the top 3,000 sites on the internet, and I've done it in ways that you probably haven't heard mentioned at this event so far. So I'm going to be talking about some interesting things that I hope that you'll be interested in. My name's McArthur. I'm the best-selling author of Impact, How to Get Noticed, Motivate Millions, and Make a Difference in a Noisy World, and also The Impact Factor, How Small Actions Change the World. I wrote those books because I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to get noticed. I wanted to actually touch millions and millions of people. How many people in the room feel like that? That they have a message that they'd like to get out, an idea, a product or service that they think can change the world and make a difference? Nobody? Yes? Yes, good. All right, because you're in the right place then. So I'm going to say, don't miss why this works. It's the secret sauce to build your mass audience. People are interested in building a mass audience? Yes? Do you know why? Do you know why? Have you thought about why you would want to do such a thing? First, I'm going to ask you a question, but first you should know. This is from Henry Ford. He said, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd have said faster horses, right? So be careful when you ask people what they want, because sometimes they don't have an idea, right? Steve Jobs kind of followed that model, didn't he? So what's the best way for me to help you succeed fast? I could tell you why. I could tell you what. I could tell you why. How? So which one would you like me to tell you about? How? How many people say how? How many people say what? You want to know what to do? How many people want to know why you want to do it? Interesting, interesting. You're a very interesting audience. Usually it's really weighted. The easy part is the how and the what, I'll tell you right now. The easy part is the how and the what. So if you want to build a mass audience of millions and millions and millions of people, and I've done it multiple times, the easy part is you already know how to do it. You already know what to do. The hard part's the what. So you picked the easy button when you raised your hand and you said, I want to know the how, I want to know the what, because that's the easy part. So it's really from the clear to the fuzzy. So it's clear what we want to do. We want to have millions of people, right, for ideas, products, and services. That's pretty clear, right? How we're going to do that, maybe not quite as clear, but you've got an idea, don't you? How many people have gotten ideas at this conference so far? Good things that might work for you? Yeah, you know some of the how you're going to do it. Why is a lot more fuzzy. So let's look at it this way. How can I help you succeed as fast as possible? Tell you what to do, tell you how to do it, tell you why. This is an ordinary restaurant. I have, at my own events, I do about 30 events a year across the country, an event called JV Alert Live. And we have networking breakfasts and networking dinners the night before. And I want you to envision that this is a restaurant that we might have a networking dinner in. Right behind that little floral arrangement in the middle there, there's somebody sitting there, you just can't see him. You never know who's going to show up at one of my events. At one event in San Diego, I had this guy. It was a room not any bigger than this room. It was all JV Alert Live, people sitting around at tables having dinner, and this guy appeared in the doorway there. And I looked up and said, that looks like Tiger Woods. And he walked over and he sat down at the table that was about this far away from me, and that's about how he looked, you know, filling his mouth with food. And so we had a networking dinner with Tiger Woods. So you never know who's going to show up. I'm going to say the guy behind the floral arrangement is this guy. Anybody recognize this guy? Stevie Wonder? What's he known for? What are some of his outstanding characteristics? Okay, he's blind, right? Maybe that could be a real asset in music making. Maybe it's a liability. Any way you look at it, it's a special trait, right? So here's the deal. You're standing in the back of the room. Stevie, or right here at the door, basically, and Stevie's behind that floral arrangement. How can you get Stevie from where he's sitting, past the obstacles, and safely out the door behind you just as fast as possible? Just as fast as possible. You tell him what to do? You tell him how to do it? Or you tell him why? So you can tell Stevie what to do. Walk across the room, avoid the obstacles, get through the door behind me. Does that help? Not really. There's a lot of things in there. All right, how about this? Maybe how to do it would be a little bit better, right? So stand up slowly, keeping your head down below 3 feet. Move forward 6 inches. Turn at a 68-degree angle to the right. Move your left foot up 6 inches, and so on. Would that help? No, probably not. Okay, how about this one? You could give Stevie a good reason why to do it. There's a man about to blow your head off with a gun. Get out of here because he's going to kill you. What do you think Stevie would do if he actually believed me? He'd stand up, he'd be plowing over tables, he'd be moving through that door behind me just as fast as he possibly could if he really believed me. Is that not true? That's true. So the easy part is the how. You already know to do it. How many people know a lot of good ways to get traffic to your website? Yeah, yeah. How many people have done all of the ways that they know? Save 2 or 3 hands there. If you don't know any good ways to get traffic to your website, you can go to kenmcarthur.com, search for traffic. I've got 101 ways that you can get traffic to your website. But we all know what those ways are, don't we? What are some of those ways? Shout some out. SEO. What's another way? Paid search. What's another way? Banners. Email. Video. Affiliate traffic. PR. Books. Speaking. Tons of ways to get traffic to your website. And we already know those things, right? So which thing works best in real life? What's easy? What does this company do? Makes computers, right? What does this company do? Makes computers. What does this company do? Makes computers. What do all these companies do? Make computers. Okay, that was too easy for you, I could tell. So what makes them different? Here's for Apple the what marketing message. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? You know, those computer companies all have the same kind of what in common, right? What they do is they make computers. How they do it really doesn't vary that much from computer company to computer company. They hire the best people that they possibly can that know the ins and outs of computer science. They get great designers, they get everything that they can, they put it together, they manufacture the stuff, and that's how they make computers, right? They do it pretty much the same way. Here's the why marketing message for Apple. We believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. We challenge the status quo by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Do you see the difference in that? Anybody remember the axe going through the screen? You know, that commercial was shown once, right? Shown once. We happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? So most of the time we spend our time explaining the what and the how of ideas, while most ideas get spread by the why. This is crucial. If you want to build a mass audience, if you want to have millions of people coming to your website, think about this really long and hard. Most of the time we're talking about what and how, but most ideas spread through the why. So the golden rule is people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. In yesterday's world, it might have been okay, we just get by on know-how. Everybody wanted to know how to do stuff, right? Now it's easy to find out how to do just about anything in about 2 seconds on the internet. Now, you want to know why. You want to know why something should be created. Understand why. So the goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. To believe what you believe. Do you think an Apple computer buyer is different than a Dell computer buyer? Do you think they believe different things? It's biology, it's not psychology. So it's hardwired into our brain, the way that we work these things. We have a couple of different areas that give us our key aspects of our brain. If you're talking about brain function, the reptilian complex basically is what keeps us alive, right? Helps you to breathe in, helps you to breathe out, knows you know when to flee, know when there's danger, those kinds of things. That's the core thing that we developed first just so we could exist. The limbic corresponds with our feelings, our trust, our loyalty, human behavior, decision-making, crucially here. Decision-making, that's the reason why we make decisions. And interestingly enough, it doesn't have any capacity for language whatsoever. Language is all in the neocortex. Rational thought, language. When we talk from the outside in, it's easy for our brain to understand the facts and figures, right? The what, the how, to get to the why. But when we talk from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls our behavior. This is really crucial. The why controls what we do. We decide, anybody ever hear this? We decide based on why, and we rationalize based on what? I just want to do it, right? I want to get this latest, greatest thing. Here's the reasons why, right? But you have to justify it to somebody when you get home, so line up the figures. This is what causes us to buy. Here's a thing, you can't really read this, but it's from Jack Nicholson. I can't hit on women in public anymore. I didn't decide it. It just doesn't feel right at my age, right? Not rational. So why don't we buy? You know all the facts and figures, but it just doesn't feel right. Is that not true? Have you ever experienced that? Anybody ever experienced that? You thought it was a good deal based on everything you saw, but it just didn't feel right. This doesn't feel right either. This is a Kraft campaign. Kraft, they have the Kraft eggs, and they suddenly made them huge for kids. Just doesn't feel right. Why should somebody buy if you don't know why you are offering it to them? If you don't have the core answer to that question of why are you offering this to me, you really don't have a reason why somebody should buy. So here's the viral secret. This is the law of diffusion of innovation. I know I'm getting really, really scientific on you now. Anybody ever see this curve? It basically is talking about, innovators, right? How many people in the room are innovators? Really, love to create stuff, going to start out from the very beginning. How many people are early adopters? Yep. Got to get the latest thing, right? And then there's kind of the ascending majority and the descending majority. You ever hear that? Well, here's where the magic happens. The magic happens in the true believers. That's the early adopters and the innovators. That's what causes mass markets to take off. You know why that is? It's because they believe. They believe this is the big thing. The core true believers for Apple are actually a small minority of the total population. Is that not true? The people that spread it, that have to get it first. But that's what causes the ascending majority to kick in. About 3.5 hours from here, that man put 250,000 people in the mall at Washington, D.C. No website. He didn't tell them when to show up. Think about that for a minute. No website. Didn't even tell them when they were supposed to show up, and 250,000 people showed up. And all he did was say, I believe. I believe. He had the I have a dream speech, right? It was not the I have a plan speech, right? He didn't tell them what to do. He just told them that he believed that men and women should work together, that the races should come together in equality, and that they could make a difference. They could have an impact in the world, did he not? He told them what he believed the world should be like, and they figured out a way to get there. And they figured out how to get there all together, and they figured out how to get buses to come to the event, and they figured it all out. All he did was he told them what he believed, right? So I know this is a lot of kind of preamble to building a mass audience. You guys like step-by-step instructions? Here's the danger of step-by-step instructions. Take out a piece of paper really, really quickly. Take it out. Here's step number 1. Draw a triangle and color it with a pen or pencil so darkly that it can't be erased, just as quick as you can, because we don't have much time. I'm already 20 minutes into this, and I got to give you a lot of stuff. Just as quickly as you can, draw it in so it can't be erased. Step number 2. Oh, that doesn't work very well. My wife's a step-by-step learner, right? I had to teach her at one point how to turn on a computer. Have you ever tried to do that on a Windows machine? Tell them how to go through it step by step, turn on a Windows machine. It's a lot more complicated than you think, you know? It really is. Step 1, step 2, do this. This will happen. Well, what if it doesn't happen? Well, it didn't happen on a Windows machine half the time, right? Something else would come up. It'd say some other message. Oh, updating this. You ever had that experience? I mean, here's my idea of progress. If I want to get to the back of the room and I got obstacles in my way, I know where I want to go generally, right? I want to go that way. But if I try and go straight forward, that's not so good. You know, you figure out the obstacles, you go the other way, you go around, right? If you're doing it step by step, it goes back to those instructions, right? So you're here, you need to be there. What needs to happen to get from here to there? Sometimes you just got to go doink. Okay? Just aim straight for the dartboard. Go for what you want. Don't wait. Skip step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just get to the door. Because that's how you're going to have the fastest impact. How many people saw Randall's presentation for the keynote this morning? Wasn't he talking a little bit about that, you know? Kind of how the early, the high achievers and, got straight to the point that they wanted to go to, and they stayed there until they had it cold. So if it's easy, why haven't you done it? You know, I would, but anybody do that? I'm going to do that when? Pretending. Anybody ever pretend? Hi, I'm an affiliate marketer. I don't have any list, I don't have any traffic, I don't have any products, but I am, right? You know, a little bit like the watch is you know, you're pretending to be a pilot part of the time, right? How many people have heard fake it till you make it? How about do something and then go to the next step? Kids, you tried your best, you failed miserably. The lesson is never try. You know, the I tried this, but it didn't work kind of a thing. If at first you don't succeed, you're running about average. I like that quote. You know, notice some of the people up there, you know, Walt Disney, we are all familiar with that. Fired from the newspaper for lacking imagination. Oprah Winfrey didn't have any future in television. Steve Jobs, you know, 30 years old, devastated, got fired from his own company. You know, the list goes on, right? If at first you don't succeed, go on to the next failure, right? Many people die at age 21, don't get buried till they're 65. That's Les Brown. And the last quote here for you. No, I got one more. Good things may come to those who wait, but that's only left over by those who hustle. That's Abraham Lincoln. And then this one I just like, so I just put it in there for that. Randall was talking about building relationships, how powerful that is. It's been huge, huge force in my life. I know that. All right, so there's 3 keys to making money. You got to have a product or service to sell. You got to have an audience, and you got to have conversion. We're going to concentrate on audience. And here we go, how to build a list of 30 million people step by step. First thing is know why you want to do it, okay? Because if you don't have a good reason why, I wouldn't bother. If you don't have a good reason why you want to do it. Step 1, realize you can't do it alone. Nobody has ever built a mass audience by doing it by themselves. Randall used that example over and over. He put the pairs of people up there that were doing things, the partnerships and the teams. I guarantee you that the people that actually did it with them count a much higher number, right? Does that make sense? Nobody in the world knows how to make a pencil. Think about that one for a minute. There is not anybody in the world that knows how to make a pencil on the earth. How does a pencil get started? It starts with a cedar tree, actually. You got to have a way to chop down the cedar tree. If you go primitive on me, you got to at least have an axe, right? How'd they manufacture that axe? How'd they get the iron ore? How'd they get the handle for that axe? How'd they know to cut the curve just so? How'd they get the sharpness of the blade? But if you're really serious about it, you know, they cut those things down with huge trucks, right? And they take them into factories. Who designed all the parts in the trucks? Who mined the gasoline, right? Who got the graphite out of the ground? Who discovered the secret formula? There is no person on earth that knows how to make a pencil. So don't try and do it alone. Step number 2, get a mentor. I think that's so important that I'm going to give you 10 reasons. And the first one is just to listen to you, number 1. How many people work by themselves in the basement? How many people don't have the spousal support or the significant other support that they really would like to have, right? That are backing you up? A mentor can give you somebody just to listen to you, to point you in the right direction, to inspire and motivate you. Anybody ever get down in this room? Anybody ever have discouraging times? Yeah, occasionally, right? I do. There was just a woman that just emailed me minutes ago, literally minutes ago, threatening me on the internet, you know, I'm going to destroy your reputation or something like that. I forgot. You know, and those moments are discouraging because I'm out there and I'm trying to do good in the world. I'm trying to do things that matter to people. Because here's my why. I discovered through my live events something magical, really. It's the transformation that you can be here today and you can get here tomorrow. It's the magic that we all have an impact whether we want to or not. And we all know we've got to take action to have an impact, right? How many people are action takers in the room? Yes? Yeah? We're all action takers? Good. And I like to say massive action. I like to say massive action all the way to completion, because if you don't finish things, you aren't going to get nearly the impact, right? So what happens when you do something with massive impact and you do it all the way to completion? Something, right? So what happens when you do nothing? I wish it were true. I wish it were true that if we did nothing, nothing happened. But devastating things happen when we do nothing. If you're a mother and you do nothing with your kid, what's going to happen to that kid? But not just that kid, but everybody that that kid touches, right? Think about child abuse for a minute. What happens if you do nothing with that? Does that go on from generation to generation to generation? It's like having a house. If you do nothing with your house, what happens to that house? It rots. It rots from the inside out, right? It dies over time. So guess what? Here's the hard, cold truth. You're going to have an impact, whether you want to or not, on the lives of thousands of people that you touch every day. Thousands of people, even if you do nothing. But here's the good side. We have the art, we have the science, we have the technology to spread amazing positive things. And you want to know what the biggest impact that you can have in somebody's life is? I asked that at one of my events. I asked two simple questions. I said, who is the person who had the biggest impact in your life ever? And the second question was, what did they do to have that impact? And the answer to the first question was just about anybody. It could have been a person off the street. It could have been a teacher, a parent, a friend. It could have been somebody that they didn't know at all. It could have been a total bum that they never ever saw again. But the common thread in who is the person that had the biggest impact in your life ever was just simply a simple, kind word of encouragement at the right time. A teenage mother who was pregnant with a kid. And 20 years later, she was sitting at my conference and saying, the person that had the biggest impact on me was a person who just at that time went up to me and said, you can get through this. And she was celebrating her daughter's graduation from college that week. We can all have an impact every single day. How many people can say something kind to somebody today? Yeah? Good. Do it, okay? Do it today because it makes a huge difference. And you know, you may think it's just a passing thing, right? It's not very important. It's not very important. But to that person, you know, there were countless stories told, and a lot of those people didn't have any clue. And you know what? It probably didn't make much difference to them. It was just an offhand comment saying, yeah, you'll do okay. You'll get through this. A little bit of perspective. We got a message, simple message out of hope out to 30 million people in 30 days from that conference. 30 million people in 30 days. It was through the power of all of the ways that we have to reach a mass audience today with the art, the science, the technology that we have today. Simple message of hope. Saved countless lives, countless lives. You can do those things in your everyday work. Share their experience, right? You don't have to live everything. You don't have to commit suicide to know it's a bad thing, right? You can go off of somebody else's experience. Teach you systems and strategies and tactics, save you time, money, and stress, help you avoid mistakes. How much does a mistake cost? It could be millions of dollars, right? What's just one little mistake, one little direction that we move off a hint. That's what a mentor can do for you. I had great mentors. Build your network and connections. Be your best critic and reality checker. And I like the last one the best, which is celebrate your success. Because guess what? Everybody doesn't celebrate your success when you're on the top, right? You got to have somebody there. Got to have somebody there that's in there for you. Step number 3. We will get through all 10. Follow a proven blueprint, okay? It's been done before, right? You don't have to reinvent it. So why reinvent the wheel? These are some alternative designs, right? Probably not a good idea, even though it's really, really creative, right? Take a proven path, something that already works, and then expand on that. You know, we can all add on to, change, modify a proven plan. But if you don't have something that works in the first place, then it's probably not your best bet. Does that make sense? Why start from scratch? We got hundreds of years of experience, and we actually remember that stuff now. And if you don't remember it, it's all stored on the internet somewhere. Step number 4, value. People miss this over and over and over again. How many people build cheap junk and try and spread it to a mass audience, right? I'd like to suggest if you create real value, that people will respond to that. What's your name? Alan? Alex. Okay, Alex, if I come up to you and I convince you somehow that I'm a trustworthy individual and I say, will you give me $1, and you give me $1, and I suddenly hand you back $2, will you do it again if I ask you? Probably. Okay, so if you did give me $1 and I give you back $2 again, and then I asked you for $1, would you do it again? More likely, yeah. So he's building a little bit of confidence in me here, right? Because if you're delivering value every single time, will that make a difference, right? So if I do it again and again, somebody over here just might notice that, right? You think I'd have to have a top copywriter to spread that service? Do you think I'd have to have the paid traffic for that? Or do you think the word would get around somehow? If I was just delivering every time. If you gave me $10 and I gave you 20. So here's what I want you to think about. How can I possibly make whatever I'm offering more valuable? Because I guarantee you, if it's more valuable, by definition, people will want it more, right? So there are lots of ways you can increase the value. You can increase the quality of it. You can increase the size or the quantity. You can make it more reliable. You can increase the service on the back end. I mean, how many companies, Zappos, is that built on service, right? You can make it easier to use. You can make it more durable. You can make more varieties of it. You can design it better. Is Apple an example of that? Yeah. So, create real value. And the easiest way to create value, 1 + 1 = 11. Have you ever seen that? That's the people equation, right? So collaboration is the way to increase value. That's the easiest way to do it. You're here with all kinds of people, right? All kinds of stuff. I have an exercise that I do at my live events, and I'll actually ask somebody to trust me with a $100 bill. It's kind of strange. I basically say, is there anybody in the room that will trust me with a $100 bill? And I hand my wallet off to somebody I don't have anything to give you, right? Somebody so far has always come up with a $100 bill. And I say to that person, I say, look, I'm not giving you back the $100 bill, and I have nothing to give you. You still want to give me the $100 bill? And so far, somebody has always said yes. And then I say, that's how you make money out of thin air. That's really empty, isn't it? Doesn't it feel kind of bad, you know? Doesn't that feel bad? What's missing from that equation? Value, right? Value. They didn't get any value out of that. So if I don't have anything to offer them in the way of value, I say, is there anybody in the room that can give something of real value to this person? And somebody will stand up and they'll say, well, I've got a book here. I can give that. How much is that worth? And it's worth, I don't know, $14 or something like that, right? Then I ask if there's somebody in the room that is capable of higher math. And we start adding it up. And the last time I did it, I think it was $30,000 out of a room that was smaller than this. $30,000 worth of real value, things that people were just willing to give that person just because they had that trust and were willing to do that. What does that tell you? And why do I use that illustration? Because there is so much value in this room that you cannot possibly imagine. You probably have every technical skill that's needed for anything in the world in this room somewhere, right? You have people that have audiences. How many people have an audience can reach 1,000 people today? If I needed to get to 1,000 people today, look around the room. That's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and however many hands are raised of people, right? How many people have something of real value to get to people if only they could get it out? Right? Yeah, look around the room. Guess what? Get together with those other people, right? Collaborate. Start from the core, keep adding value. Create the mission, values, and the message that becomes your brand. We have to, if you want to create a mass audience, you have to say things simply, right? You have to say things in a way that is clear and memorable. If you want things to spread, people have to remember them. Remember that, right? If you want things to spread, people have to remember them. If they don't remember it, they can't spread it for you. It has to be clear. It has to be simple. Stand for something. I just did the Impact Manifesto. It was actually published on Seth Godin's brainchild, Change This. And I hope to get it out to 1 million people here over the next, say, 90 days or so. And it's really about, you know, how we all make a difference and how our actions make a difference. But stand for something, right? If you don't stand for something, people will not respond to you, right? You can't be wishy-washy about things. You have to stand one way or another. I don't care whether you're independent, you're Republican, you're Democrat, you got to stand for something. Otherwise, people will ignore you. Build a community. Here's the secret sauce for building a mass audience. Build a highly engaged community. I didn't use SEO. I didn't use paid traffic. I didn't use organic search. What I used to generate multiple sites in the top 3,000 sites on the internet was highly, highly engaged communities of people that were passionate about a particular subject, who felt that they were getting real value out of those things. I've done it on many occasions. How many people are totally asleep by now? The lunch is kicked in. Want to stand up? Bounce your feet around a second. Stand up. Stand up. Come on, I know you've been there, right? So just go up and down like this a little bit. There you go. Now say yes. Yes! All right, I like that. That just feels good to move a little bit, right? All right, build a community. This was Tobri, and actually it was top 3,000 sites on the internet, highly engaged community, more traffic than Tiger Woods at the time of his scandal. It was done because of the way that the users of this website actually engaged. So there was a lady, and we had a ranking system. How many people use gamification on their websites? Anything like that? Have you tried gamification? Ranking systems, any of those kinds of things? Are those foreign to you, or you know what it is? Gamification is ways that you can, like point systems and things like that. Ranking systems. So we had a Tobri ranking in which we had our members of the website that were basically competing to be in the top 100 users on our site. And we would rank them every day. I went to a local networking event, and there was a lady that was there that almost killed me because she dropped a slot from number 18 to number 19 in the Tobri ranking. She wanted to know what she did because she was spending 8, 10, 12 hours a day on the website just doing things that would, make the site more valuable. That's highly engaged, right? That's what gamification does, because when you start telling people the ranking and the results of what they do, they get really involved in it. So you get a highly engaged community. I was asked if I could do it again recently. Buzzbreaker.com went from no traffic at all, not existing at all, into the top 1% of the websites in the world without me even telling my list within a few days, and then we went into the top 1% of the top 1%. Trending topics. Tap into what people are talking about right now, right? Because people are talking about different subjects, you can tap into those subjects. Build the pressure. Affiliate showcase. My top 3,000 site was an affiliate, my first top 3,000 site was an affiliate search engine and directory system. It was actually done a joint venture via email. I never talked to the guy ever once in my life. I won't talk to him to this day because it'd ruin the story, right? But we put together a simple system. I had a software platform that I had built that I thought could be used. He was a simple work at home kind of a guy. Heart of gold, the kind of person that you would trust in a moment, right? And I asked the simple question, you know, where are my potential customers now, and who do they like and trust? And in that day, it was Jim Daniels. It was time during which people actually liked to get email. Anybody remember those days? Oh, I got an email. Oh, that was really nice. Some of you are too young for that. You started out being inundated with emails. But for me, it was exciting, you know, at some point, right, to get an email. Well, it was back in those days, and so this Jim Daniels had probably 180,000 people on his mailing list. And so he decided we would test this system out. So we sent out to 200 people. We said, we're going to beta test this brand new site. It's an affiliate program search engine and directory. And you can pay $49 a month to become a member. You can't tell anybody about it. It's all beta, but you can sign up. And about 200 people signed up. I said, wow, that's pretty good. 200 times $49 a month. That's okay. So then I said, why don't we load test this? We'll send it out to another 2,000 people because I didn't have any clue if it was a fluke. Maybe that was the only 200 customers out of 180,000. So we sent it out to 2,000 people. About 2,000 people signed up. I started multiplying 2,000 times $49 every month. I went to my wife and I said, your life has changed. And she was really happy. So I went to Jim Daniels and I said, Jim, why don't we load test this? Because I have no idea, you know, if this is really true, you know, what will happen if we let a bunch of people in there, because that's already got, you know, 2,200 people in there. What will happen if I, you know, open the floodgates? And so he accidentally unselected 2,000 people, sent out to 178,000 people. Write this down. Plan for your success. Because so many times we hope and we pray that we're going to have success, but we don't really plan to have success. What would really happen if 200,000 people signed up? Well, I'll tell you what happened in my case. In my case, what happened was it was taking 15 minutes for the site to load. Literally 15 minutes. You hit the button, 15 minutes later the site would come up. And here's the scary part. People were still signing up. That was scary because it was coming out of the merchant account, right? And they were taking all the fees out. And I knew all those people were going to refund. And all that money, I didn't have enough money to pay them back, right? Just the fees and stuff like that on that many people. So I called my buddies at Microsoft. I brought a T1 into the basement of my house. I scrambled everything that I could possibly do, and I told the people who were in the site, I said, wonderful, you just load tested the site. This is perfect. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell a soul. If you do tell anybody, you will be banned for life. Guess what they did? How did you know? You have no faith in people. Yeah, top 3,000 sites on the internet, it was up there for years. Okay, step number 8, leverage multiple media and communications channels. If you aren't doing this now, you need to be doing it soon because guess what? The rules change every week, every day, every second, right? Google just put tabs on their inboxes, right? So if you have online email, Now there's a whole new promotions section, so if you're doing email marketing, all of a sudden, all of your emails are going into the promotions tab, right? That's a factor. So how do you protect against things like that happening? Well, you don't, really, except through diversification of your communication channels, the way so that you reach people, so that if one channel is cut off for whatever reason, Google changes their organic search algorithms. That's never happened before, I know, but just in case they do in the future, then you've got other ways to get a hold of your customers. These are some of the ways that I use right now. I use live events. I use infographics. I use Kindle books. I use physical products, information products. I use radio and television. I use Google Hangouts. I use iTunes, podcasts, radio shows. Those are all different ways that we can touch our audience, right? And stay in contact with them no matter how, right? Okay, step number 9. That's the math in case you really want. How many guys are really techie? Look it up. It's the viral coefficient. So you have to break the viral coefficient barrier. Here's the simple way you do that. You start there in the top, right there where it says start here. Create something clearly valuable. Find 10 people who want it. Make something valuable. Find 10 people who want it. If you can't find 10 people who want it, start over. Seriously. If you can't find 10 people in the world that want what you got, it's not very valuable, start over. That make sense? If you can find 10 people who want it, motivate each one of those 10 people to find 2 more people who want it. Any number over 1 point anything breaks the viral coefficient barrier. That's magic for you in building a mass audience. If you can convince 1 out of 10 to buy it at a significant price point, and you can find out what else they want, and you kind of circle back around, that's a continuous circle of income and building mass influence. That makes sense? But it starts with building something valuable, finding 10 people who want it. Here's my origami. Take out a sheet of paper really quick because we're almost done. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again and again. Keep counting. Keep folding as long as you can do it. Tell me when you get up to the point that you cannot fold it anymore. Yell out what you got. Somebody's got 1, 2, 3. How high are we getting? 6. I got a 6. Somebody higher? Thank you. 7. Anybody got more than 7? I had somebody get to 9. That's pretty tough. 7's the average. 7's the average, okay? 7 folds, it's about as thick as a notebook. Is that right? Okay, about that thickness. 10 times would be thick as the width of your hand. It can only be done about 12 times. I've never seen anybody do it, but I did see somebody try and get up to 9, and he claimed he got it, so I believed him. But 17 folds, taller than your average house. 60 folds, diameter of the solar system. 100 folds, radius of the known universe. And I know, who's a skeptic? Come on. I know there's skeptics out there. Come on. Nobody's going to admit to it? Okay. There's the math, just in case you need it, right? What is that? That's like an exponential effect, right? Yeah. So here's the difference. Incremental, add 1 customer every day. 30 days, you got 30 customers. Exponential, double your customers every day. 30 days, you have 536,870,912 customers. How many believe they are going to have that many customers at the end of 30 days? Nobody? Ah, I got 1 optimist in there. I got 2. All right, good. Well, good for you. It gets tougher, right? Usually gets tougher every time you double something. They're physical constraints. Remember, it kept getting harder every time you folded that thing over. And there are limits to the market. Anybody hear of a pyramid scheme? There are only so many people on the planet. If you get over about 9 billion, you're out of customers, at least in this earth, right? But there are ways that you can get your customers to spread the word, and that's the magic bullet. You don't spread the word because you can only get out to 30 customers a week. Or if you buy all the traffic, you can only get up to how many people you can buy, right? But your customers have an almost unlimited tap if you tap into those customers to spread the word. Does that make sense to you? Lots of ways you can do that. I mentioned ranking systems, JV Alert Live, top 30 speakers. Earn points for doing this, run sweepstakes, do the telephone switch, use the social media. All of those kinds of things will get your customers to spread the word about what you're doing about your website or your ideas, products, and services. That makes sense? Make them do the work. Step number 10, build systems and automate. Do it at that point, right? Because if you don't do it at that point, and I'll just see here, we got about 7 minutes, I think. You don't want to automate things that aren't working. If you automate losing $10 a day, you will go out of business faster, right? Build systems for things that work. If something is working, take the time, make it into a system, make it automated, make it happen easier, faster. But if it's not working, for goodness sake, please don't automate it or systematize it. Don't do this alone. Oprah did it alone? No, those are some of the people that were on her show, everybody from Julia Roberts to Alicia Keys, Randy Jackson, Celine Dion, all those people showed up. Do you think they brought some of their audience with them? Probably. That's just producers. These lists go on, by the way, for miles and miles and miles. Camera operators. So how many people just don't know where to start? Yeah. Well, here's the key. Start where you are now. Add some experience to it. You start with innate abilities. If you add some experience to it, you get some knowledge. If you add some experience to that, you get skills. Add experience to that, you get insights. How many people think there's just too much to know, right? Yeah, this says there's 14 billion neurons in the brain, 14 billion and one facts to remember to pass the boards. Yeah. That's the way it feels sometimes. You know what you know, but sometimes you miss stuff, I'll just double check. Yeah. How many F's in the following sentence? You got 15 seconds. Hang on just a second. Don't say anything. I'm going to check you. Okay, how many people said 3? I know somebody said 3. Come on, fess up now. How many people said 3? How many people? Nobody's looking anyway. How many people say 4? How many people say 5, 6, 7, 100? Just checking, some of you are optimists, okay? How many F's? Well, there's an F, right? There's an F, that's 2 at least. How about this F? How many people missed that F? There's another F. See these F's here? How many people missed those F's? Why did you miss those F's? They were right there in front of your face, right? Because it's not that important, right? How many things are sitting there staring you in the face and you just gloss over it? That's what a mentor does for you, in terms of helping you through a process like this. Somebody else to put eyes on it, to show you the things that you're missing. I like this cartoon. It's like, unpleasant truths, there's the line for comforting lies. It's much longer. Okay, 60 seconds for this. Anybody figure it out? I think we got enough time. Anybody figure it out? I only gave you about 30 seconds. You got it? No E's. Look around the room, see how many people are in the room. On average, one person in 100 people will realize that there are no E's in that entire paragraph. Now, yeah, she's the smart lady right over there, okay? That's the kind of person that it would be helpful, right? Because now you all can look at this and you can say, yeah, she's right, there's no E's. That's easy, right? That's called an insight. Only 1 in 100 people will get it. Only 1 in 100 people. You need to know at least 100 people, because otherwise you won't get that insight, right? You got to know at least 100 people. Interestingly enough, the guy that wrote this part, there was a whole book written without E's. It's the most common letter in the English language, right? Wrote a whole book without E's. It was written in French. They translated it to English with no E's. It had no E's in French either, so it's just an interesting aside. So that's what Mentor's for. I say you can do a joint venture if you can get a cup of coffee. At my conferences, a lot of times I'm working like crazy. I can't even get out to get a cup of coffee. You think I'd remember the person that would come up with a cup of coffee at the right time and say, here's a cup of coffee, would you like it? You want to get noticed among some of the people that are most powerful affiliates, super affiliates in the world? Or the people that have the greatest products in the world? Be authentic, be yourself, don't overpromise. How many people do what they say they're going to do in your life? A much lower percentage than promise. I can't tell you how many people have come up at my events and said, Ken, I'm going to make you a millionaire. And I guarantee the number of people who have actually done it is a much smaller list. Here's how you get big results. People remember 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, 30% of what they see, 50% of what they see and hear, 70% of what they say and write, and the most important, 90% of what they do. If you want to figure out how to do it in this business, go out and do it. You'll find out really, really quickly if something doesn't work. Persist. You know, don't give up instantaneously. But if you do things, you're going to learn so much faster than if you're just trying to learn by reading. How many people are stalled in that I'm going to study until I know everything mode? Right? Don't do that. First action steps, get a mentor, follow their blueprint, learn by doing. With your mentor, get inspired, get motivated, create your value, clarify your message, build your community, build the pressure, use multiple communication channels, break the viral coefficient barrier, create systems and automate. You don't have to pay a mentor. My first 2 mentors came from church. I actually went to my pastor, who happened to be a friend of mine, and I said, is there anybody, you know, I'm going back into business for myself again. Is there anybody that could help me out? And he said, well, you can meet these 2 guys for coffee. The first guy was a guy who actually invented the 401k plan. I thought, wow. If I had known that the track record of this guy, he took I'm wrapping up for sure. If he took his company public and invented the 401k plan, and the second guy was the guy who had the second largest direct marketing company in the nation, and he sold it to the largest, you know, for multi millions. You never know who's sitting next to you out there. And you never know when they might meet you for a cup of coffee. If there's anything that I can do to help you, I want to help you. My goal in life is to have an impact. I want to make a difference. I want to help create highly engaged audiences for people and for ideas and products and services that are going to have a real impact in the world and are going to make a difference. Because we all make a difference, whether we want to or not. And I figure if we're going to make a difference anyway, we might as well use the art, the science, the technology that we have today to impact as many people as we possibly can in a positive way. Thank you for your attention today. I really appreciate it. Hope you got something valuable out of it.